I'm Todd Logan. I'm the communications lead for Clackamas County and Clackamas Water Environment Services. Through the evening, you may hear WES. That is the acronym we use for Clackamas Water Environment Services. Means the same thing. With me tonight are Nathan Seaver, civil engineer associate with WES, and the person who will be leading the project. Nathan, you want to wave? We also have Jessica Renner, WES's civil engineering supervisor, and Lynn Chicoine, the technical services manager for WES. Nathan will give us a presentation about the project, and then we will have time for questions after. If you have a question and don't want to forget it before we get to the Q&A stage, feel free to put it in the chat and we will get to it after the presentation. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Nathan.
Great. Thanks, Todd. And thanks, everyone, for coming out tonight. I know it's talking sewer is probably not everyone's favorite thing to do right around dinner time on a Thursday. So I appreciate you joining us. Before we talk about, get on with tonight's presentation, I do want to mention that next week on Wednesday, I will be leading an on-site walkthrough. If you want to join us, that will be start at 9 a.m. from the end of the Fir Cone Court, and we'll go through and be able to discuss the specific portions of the system and exactly what's going to go on where, to give you kind of a more in the field kind of look at the system. And so now we'll get on with tonight's agenda. I've got 3 parts tonight. We'll briefly talk about the background of Fisher Forest Park, the treatment system, and how it operates. Next, we'll do an overview of the project that we've got coming up. And last, we'll conclude with questions. Like Todd mentioned, if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to throw them in chat and we'll address them at the end. And throw any questions in there you want. We'll do our best to answer them. And if not, if we can't answer them tonight, we'll definitely get an answer to you as soon as possible. So a little bit about Fisher Forest Park. Fisher Forest Park community was constructed from 1969 to 1971. And in 1970, Clackamas County constructed the sewer utility for all 26 homes. Fun little fact, that actually makes Fisher Forest Park the oldest facility that we operate. And Fisher Forest Park was built using a traditional septic design. In a traditional septic design, waste flows from the house out into a settling tank, or your septic tank. While in the tank, the solids will settle to the bottom, and lighter materials like your fats and your oils and your grease will float to the top. That allows the clear liquid to exit the septic tank and flow into your drain field. Now, a drain field is a long system of perforated pipes with holes in them. And then from there, the water will flow or infiltrate into the ground, and Mother Nature will take over the final treatment process. So what you see here is the original design for Fisher Forest Park. As you can see, it originally included 3 separate systems, one on the east, one in the middle, and one on the west. And each of these systems has its own separate septic tank. Those are the yellow rectangles, and drain field. That's the lines just to the north of those septic tanks. Each one serves about 1/3 of the community, and it works just like a residential septic system, except instead of each house having their own septic tank and drain field, the houses all flow into one of these larger systems. In total, this system has over 16,000 gallons of tankage and over a mile of buried pipe. So in 1983, Clackamas County did a large improvement project that made two significant changes to the system. First, it tied all of the septic tanks together, unifying them into a single system. And second, it installed a large filter downstream of the septic tanks. And this filter provided much better treatment and took some of the stress off of the drain fields. If you're looking at the image here, you can see that all of the yellow are the original facilities, and everything in the blue or the cyan color are new facilities that were constructed as part of the 1983 project. Since 1983, systems operated pretty much the same. We have made some improvements over the years. We've upgraded the filter system to a more advanced, more modern treatment system. But other than that, the system has operated reliably with just basic maintenance for about 35 years. In the last few years, the system has shown some signs of age. So in 2019, we started the process to evaluate every part of the system. And over the last year, we've been in the process of designing a renovation process to address all of the issues that we found. Before we talk about what the project will do, I want to talk a little bit about what the project won't do. First, the project will not generate a special assessment or any special fees. This project has been budgeted in our capital improvements program, and there should be no financial burden to the residents. Next, this project won't raise your rates. Any rate increases that you do experience are just part of our normal rate cycles and don't have anything to do directly with this project. And lastly, this won't cause any significant service interruptions. So your sewer service will not stop at any point during construction. So on to what this project will do. This project will replace parts of the system that we've determined to be defective or past their useful life. And it will start, the location of the project is going to start from an area approximately 5 feet outside of the homes, go all the way through the collection system, the treatment system, and out into the drain fields. In total, we're going to replace about 90% of the existing collection and treatment system. The system served you folks well for over 50 years, but we believe the responsible thing at this point is to renovate the entire system so that it can service you folks for another 50 years. Another thing that we are going to do as part of this project is we're going to look at replacing any defective laterals. What a lateral is that's the pipe that connects your home to the sewer system. Now, as part of construction, we're going to inspect all of those pipes, the residential pipes. And if we find any that are defective or in need of repair, we are going to replace those pipes. Now, normally, this would be an expense that would be the responsibility of the homeowner. But as part of this project, Wes is going to cover all of the costs related to replacing those pipes, from installing the pipe to making any other repairs that are needed. And lastly, or not lastly, but next I want to talk about how the project is going to happen, and that is going to be conducted in 2 different phases. Phase 1 will cover all of the systems outside of the roadway. So you can see here, the areas that are highlighted in green will be doing a condition assessment and addressing any issues that we find. All of those solid green lines are new facilities that will be constructed as part of this project. And everything there in the red X's are portions of the system that we will be decommissioning. This is the more important of the 2 phases, and it will address most of the issues that are currently affecting the system. At this point, we're targeting a start date of the first few months of 2022. Phase 2 will cover the portions of the systems that are connected to and in the roadway. This will replace all of the remaining components and address any remaining condition issues, and leave the system in fully renovated condition. we're currently coordinating with the transportation department, so we're not sure what the start date will be for phase 2. And the last thing I want to mention tonight is that we will be coordinating closely with all of the Fisher Forest Park residents. I will be available throughout the project for any questions or concerns, and I will be the one working directly with residents to provide information, updates like schedule updates, and to answer any questions you have. And from there, speaking of questions, it is time for any questions that any folks have.
So it looks like Jay Lamb,
You're muted.
you're muted.
I don't have any questions, but thank you.
Okay. And Folliard, you were having trouble with your microphone, but if you have any questions and you want to put them in the chat. Okay. You saw Nathan's email address and phone number on the last page. We have Nathan's email address on the web page currently, and I will be putting his phone number on there. So if you do need to contact, you'll have a way to contact Nathan, who is the expert on this project. And we will be updating the website as the project progresses.
Yeah, so the recording, if I understand correctly, Todd, a recording of this presentation will be available through the website.
Yes, and I'll have it up next week.
In case everyone didn't hear it, there's going to be a walkthrough next Wednesday at 9 a.m. Starting from the cul-de-sac, end of the cul-de-sac at Furcone Court, where I'll be there and be able to walk through and answer any questions. And as I mentioned, Todd mentioned my cell phone number, my works county phone will be on the website. So if you're not a phone call person and you want a text message, you feel free to text me at that, and we can do text messages, phone calls, or email, whatever works best for folks.
All right. If there are no more questions, thank you for your time this evening, and have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.